Tkay Maidza. I want to get my hot take under the way, and yeah. So I'll put up a bit of context. So I'll spoil it. It's Tenacious D. So obviously, growing up in high school, you like Tenacious D. Everyone likes Tenacious D. Everyone likes a tribute. Tribute's still a good song.
Yeah.
Pick a Destiny. Actually, a good movie. I know it's not the greatest comedy out there. I know there's still a bit too many dick jokes in it, but for the sake of musical comedies, it's pretty good. And the music in Pick a Destiny is fantastic. I actually like the first two Tenacious D albums. And I remember when Rise of the Fenix was coming out, and everyone was a bit like hyped for it. And I wasn't so hyped, but I was still interested in it. And then I could only remember one line from the whole album coming into this, just from that moment. I remember that I was disappointed with that album when I first heard it, and I could only remember the Jack Black saying, "I want to suck KG's chode," as
Yes,
that is
yes.
a line. Only memorable line just of how it was done. And
God damn it.
that's alright. I haven't finished my hot take yet.
One. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dissonant Waves. This is episode 63. Missed you. Hi, how's it going?
Recording at our new time slot of 9:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, compared to our 9 o'clock. This isn't due to the schedule changes, by the way. This is just due to OBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love resetting OBS every now and then randomly when things update. Oh, my computer's telling me I have to update yet again. I can't wait for that.
Let's leave it for now.
Oh, yeah.
Don't press that button, Dominic. Don't. Oh no, he's got AirPods in. He can't hear us.
Oh god. Oh fuck.
Anyway, now that this is going underway again, I think this will be fine. Let's talk about some things. We have a very interesting week. Excuse me while I plug in my laptop now. We have Tenacious D, Rise of the Fenix, both the explicit and clean versions. We have Tkay Maidza. I think I said it right now. Tkay Maidza.
Yeah, you got it right.
Last Year Was Weird.
Maidza, yeah.
EPs volume 1 through 3. And then I did a little deep dive into a local kind of person that I know. Well, he's a person. I kind of know him. Named Lukas Skucas, and the various bands he's been in over the period of several years. And,
yeah, he knows musicians. It's no big deal.
You know.
Yeah, he saw Beach Bunny in concert before they were famous.
Possibly. I don't
No big
remember. It's funny when you can't remember that. Like it was. I guess it was just that unimpressive.
I like how just all the underground bands that you've given us to this level of albeit with Beach Bunny.
Ironically, Trix was the one to bring Beach Bunny to the podcast.
Yeah.
And even more ironically, I'm seeming to be the only one who's enjoying Beach Bunny out of this book.
But
I've got my personal reasons.
But that's for another episode.
Ritz has some thoughts on Tenacious D, and I've really interrupted him when my computer did things previously.
Yeah, so let's get back to the beginning of this. So as I was saying about Tenacious D, which no one else would have heard. So like most people, discovered them in high school around 2010 for me. So this is around 2 years before Rise of the Fenix comes out. So I'm not waiting as long as everyone else is. But I watched Pick a Destiny, the film. I thought it was funny. Yeah, it had a bit of dick jokes in it, but it had some actual good band humor and slacker humor in it. Again, the songs in it are fantastic. I mean, Kickapoo still bangs.
Yeah.
That doesn't even get started.
Ronnie James Dio.
Don't even get me started on Master Exploder and the Metal. Those are bangers.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, when I remember hearing that this album was coming out, and my dad playing it in the car whilst we were going, I think it was the Hornsby Shopping Centre, and the only thing I can remember from it, and this comes from being in like year 9 or something, so I still enjoy this type of humor usually.
Prime time.
And the only thing I could remember was in the song Brody with Jack Black singing "I want to suck KG's chode," and I now know that wasn't actually Jack Black doing it in his own first person, but still, that was the only thing I could remember. I didn't enjoy the album, and I thought this would be interesting. Coming back to this after around 9 years since I've last listened to this album, and I thought, hey, maybe it'll change. Maybe I'll appreciate this album a bit more. No, I fucking hate this.
Fucking hate this. Wow.
I hate this.
Yeah, it's a fun album.
It just wasn't. Yes, I know Tenacious D is not a band to take seriously, but just because I'm not taking it seriously doesn't mean that I'm gonna just go for dumb humor. I mean, there have been times where I've appreciated just watching a dumb film or something. Like American Pie is a completely dumb film, but I can still find some enjoyment in watching it. In here, I don't even get that. It feels like I have to be like, I don't know, 10 to enjoy this.
I guess I'm
There's
10
way-
then.
There's way
Same here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go too much instrumentally. I think it's fine, but it's not even close to the best riffs that Tenacious D had put out. Like Kielbasa has a great opening riff to that song. Can remember that perfectly. Such a good song. But the instrumentation here is just
I forget the
even
rest of
that
it.
one, which has sex jokes in it, is done in such a better and funnier way that I still like Kielbasa as a song. I think it's fantastic in Tenacious D's discography. In here, like you can't just tell me that that the instrumentation would be enough to go in it. If you think that the lyrics on here are funny, I'm sorry, but like yeah, I guess everyone has their own opinion, but they're just simply just way too childish with no even hint of being somewhat self-aware or even somewhat creative. It's just annoying dick jokes
Let me say
for
this.
50 minutes.
I didn't laugh at all listening
Yeah.
to this, but I still enjoyed it as like an album.
And I'm bringing up previous criticisms because I get to be mad at this because Trix hated Ween's "Waving My Dick in the Wind."
I
Which
didn't
this
hate
song-
that. I don't think I quite enjoy that song now, at least.
At the time, you criticized it because you said it was just not it was just a dick joke, and that is a dick joke done right. The song itself is so creative. The actual instrumentation behind that, it wouldn't matter what the lyrics of that song were. This album I describe is what you guys thought Ween was going to be.
Yes.
Songs like Senorita on this album sound like a really cheap version of Ween songs. The first thought I had listening to Senorita was this kind of reminds me in a bad way about Ween's Buenos Tardes Amigo or whatever what it is, and that's not a bad song from Ween. That's actually one of their best songs from Ween. It's a 7-minute mariachi song that explains this kind of revenge story. That's this person trying to avenge his brother's death, with the twist being that he actually killed his own brother and was just murdering someone for the sake of it under this disguise of revenge. It's this really twisted, fucked up story.
Hmm.
And then when Tenacious D tried to do something in that same vein, it's just dick jokes, annoying dick jokes.
I mean,
That's what I hated about this album, is that Tenacious D do better. They've done better. I've heard them do better.
I think Senorita is pretty cliched and stereotypical. Not maybe for the dick jokes, but for like the instrumentation, the lyrics, everything else. But I don't remember hearing a lot of dick jokes.
Yeah, there weren't many dick jokes in Senorita.
Maybe I'm wrong about Senorita. Maybe it's because it's just so much dick jokes everywhere else that I associate every song with it.
I mean,
still,
the intro, the intro to Senorita had Jack Black placing his dick between Cage's butt cheeks, so I can forgive that.
Yeah, that
yeah.
was a bit much, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't get into those goddamn, like the classical teacher 3-minute skit. Tenacious D used to have skits that lasted like 30 seconds where they belonged. Even then, they were still the weakest part of the album. But like you have hard fucking before fuck her gently.
Yeah.
That was 1,000 times better than anything on here.
We got to talk about the hard fucking.
Cock push-ups is another dick joke that was funny. Like I like the joke of you only need to do one cock push-up.
Yeah.
I also never enjoyed Pick of Destiny personally. I probably enjoyed this more, like movie versus album.
I just like I couldn't get into any of the jokes. I admit I didn't listen to the clean version. I didn't think it would matter, to be honest. I know it'd probably be a lot funnier. I know it'd probably be a lot funnier, but it's just I was not interested enough to care. And I know it's a hard, because listening to the last Tenacious D output with the Rock Apocalypso, the stuff that I've heard from there is better than this album. So it wasn't like they lost their talent or anything. No, I'm straight up voting disclaimer. This is the worst Tenacious D album by far. Because yeah, I know it's based off the dick jokes, but it's bad. Just because it bases itself off this and it tries to not be so serious doesn't mean that it's immune from all this criticism of just how lowbrow it is without like yeah, it's lowbrow, but that's it. That's all it is. There's nothing else. And after 5 seconds, it all wears off. I don't want to have to hear another 3 minutes of them talking about how their dicks in a butt. It wasn't funny. It especially doesn't hold up these days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
to be
will
honest,
I will think
it really did then.
I do
Sorry,
think Apocalypto is a lesser album than this one, personally, but that's just me.
So Trix, the thing you did was you built this up as like a big like, oh man, they're so creative when they do the clean versions. They change up a lot of the lyrics.
I think it's more creative than like just just normal censorship. And there's some lines where I think it's like, oh, this is like genuinely better than the original version from a songwriting standpoint.
Sure, but they've only do it on a handful of the songs.
Yeah.
Like Death Star.
Yeah.
They fucked our asses.
39,
and that's it.
Pretty much, yeah. They, if you look into it a little bit closer, you can see the more that they did. Like, they do it on every track, but like it's a bit more subdued in a lot of them. And a
lot of it's just freak instead of fuck or frick instead of fuck, which I was very disappointed by.
But like in Ballad of Rage Cage and or Hollywood Jack and Rage Cage or whatever the fuck that song is called, they changed the party and snort coke off the ass of a whore to party with Zsa Zsa Gabor, and it's just small things like that I appreciate. And
or instead of pictures of doing mushrooms, it was like pictures of them too or something
from the old days.
Yeah, some of that was all right. Like I think some of the lines, like the one in 39, I can understand what you're saying with that. I just think you built it up way too much.
I think I did too, but I enjoyed it.
Now, as much as I have also complained about this, I just want to say that there were little moments on this album which I did enjoy. I want to put out that this wasn't completely fun. The one skit on here, which was actually funny, and probably wouldn't be so much listening to it again, was the flutes and trombones one.
Yeah, that one is pretty funny.
That
one
is funny. I thought that was worse than the other one.
But it probably wouldn't be so much again because they do draw out that joke way too long. You can tell what the second punchline would be after the first one has happened.
It just the logic of it does not compute for me. Why would you be mad about doing the thing if you're also doing the thing?
It is based on this kind of whole concept of being seen as a rock star kind of thing. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it was funny to hear the kind of fight sounds with the trombones and the flutes just playing randomly in that. I thought that was kind of funny. I like that, I'd say. And 39 wasn't terrible.
I like idea 39.
I think it draws itself out again, but I don't think out of all the sex jokes that they made in this album, I think this one is a lot more mature and a lot more kind of like funnier.
I'm guessing Glass took lead on this because it would make mathematically it would make more sense for Glass to be writing that one.
Aren't they both around the same age?
No, Glass is 10 years older. Yes, I mean, he would have been closer to 48 than Jack Black would be when this was written.
I'm
slipping into my mistake of always calling him Kyle Glass and not Kyle Gass.
Yeah, no, I did that for a lot as well. But yeah, look, I'm disappointed by this. They're a band that I just know I knew at the time could have done better, and coming back to it now, I don't want to listen to this again. It's not going to go down as one of the worst albums that I've heard out of this because there are enough aspects to it which at least made the listening not so hard. Like they still know how to play instruments. The production on this is still fine.
This is not Alex Boniello.
Yeah, the tunes on here. It's more interesting than Alex Boniello. I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But it is still it feels too much like a knockoff. I know Tenacious D have always been about like celebrating rock and kind of thing, and definitely taking inspiration from a lot of that. But I still think a lot of their earlier stuff still had a hint of originality into it.
Like tribute being a tribute is great.
Yeah. But yeah, this, I don't know. I just don't want to listen to this again. And I can still go back to early Tenacious D. I have early Tenacious D on my computer. Like I found Pick a Destiny soundtrack at a Vinny's and picked that up instantly without hesitation. And I'll still go back to that stuff on occasion, and I'll still enjoy it. Because even when the jokes are kind of shit in that, the music was just a lot better.
Yeah.
Like Beelzebub is a hell of a fucking song.
Yeah, with Dave
That's-
Grohl on there.
It's not just ambitious for a Tenacious D song. It's an ambitious song, full stop, and it pretty much nails it. Yeah, it has again some of those edgy jokes in it, but everything else of that song makes up for it. It's actually a really good comedy song
I think
and a good song, full stop.
I did appreciate Death Star being like a interesting little space tale and how it gradually becomes a criticism of humanity. Like that's
Yeah.
very typical of that kind of genre, but the way it's done, I did enjoy in terms of like we have to keep building to defeat our enemy. And oh no, what have we become? We've become our enemy.
The last joke that was like a little small chuckle was the indie cred joke that they brought in, but like it really only hit the first time.
I also like To Be the Best quite a bit. It is a short ass song, but it is very good 80s.
Yeah.
Like
Anyway, that's my thoughts.
I also am wondering was Rhodey written for Brutal Legend at some point and just never made it? Because it would just make so much sense.
I don't think so.
Like maybe he was inspired by it at least since he did voice the character.
Maybe. Yeah.
I think my criticism would be that a lot of it, like I just don't like it when songs tend to start the same way a lot of the time, and a lot of this was just like acoustic time. Okay, then we add something else.
I mean,
then we add
that's
something else.
Tenacious D for you.
Yeah, I just felt like I was hearing it a lot here. Like Rise of the
Fair
Phoenix and Rhodey are kind of like they start kind of the same way. And granted,
I'll
other
give you
stuff
that.
we listened to this week does start the same way as well. But I felt like this being like a professionally produced album, it mattered more. Also, like I got huge Turn the Page vibes from Rhodey, and whenever a song gives me Turn the Page vibes, I'm like, you can only be so quote unquote epic with rock sometimes, no matter how much you try.
Yeah.
Like Turn the Page is like my go-to for like overwrought but still kind of good rock song. Turn the page. Like how epic can that line really be?
Fair enough.
I will say as well, Jack Black's best performance when it comes to anything musical, and Tenacious D is up there, but nothing beats School of Rock.
Yes, School of Rock is great.
Yeah.
We should cover that
School of
sometime
Rock
on the
is
podcast.
amazing.
I will
Yeah.
also say that Jack Black's vocals are still really good on this album. Like
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah,
they're
he's-
still fine.
He's got his pipes.
yeah, he makes this album. A lot of it's just kind of emulating earlier rock, but he makes it work for him.
Hmm.
I'd also like the shot at HBO that is they fucked our asses. I think that's an interesting like takedown so many years later.
Yeah.
Like how long were they sitting on that one? But you know, I don't know. It's like the thing where it's like I enjoyed it when I listened to it, but now looking back, I don't really remember as much, and I'm kind of like, I like it, but
I've got good memories of singing it with a bunch of people from my vocal ensemble in high school, so
I can
that's
see
why I
that.
quite like it.
like Tribute's always going to be the one for me. Like that was my introduction to Tenacious D, learning that Jack Black was in a real band kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like that shock for me, like post School of Rock, discovering internet music videos. It's like holy shit.
I still don't even think Tribute's the best off their debut. It's either Double Team or Killbuster for me.
I mean, yeah,
Kill Boss is definitely up there.
I'm more talking
Double
about just
Team
memories.
is a good sex song for them as well. So they've done this style and it's been better.
Sure, there's a sweetness to 39 though that's coated in some misogyny, but maybe it's maybe trying to be for humorous misogyny, which
Yeah.
But they're trying to be a little sweet about it, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, as sweet as you can for saying you're going to pay for somebody's dentist appointment if they suck your dick, so.
Or like, she's good enough for me. Like, okay, so what does that mean?
Yeah.
What does good enough mean?
Well, as to say, if no one's actually seen the original HBO show, it is actually like kind of funny.
I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah, I should watch that. I know it's on the DVD
It's-
of the Complete Masterworks.
I need to hunt down a copy of it at some point.
You can find it on YouTube. That's where I watched it.
Oh, sweet.
And their YouTube show is on there as well, I believe. Well, yeah, it's a YouTube show.
Yeah. Yeah, where they animated it themselves, and it's like one of the weirdest things I've ever fucking watched.
I had not watched it.
Animated P and V, and I'll say that much.
Makes sense.
Hmm.
It's this favorites, I think to be the best is great. I think Death Star is fun. Rise of the Phoenix as a song is a good starting point, and Rhodey's cool too. Least favorite's gonna be the skits for sure.
Favorite? Don't really have one. I don't like 39 enough to call it a favorite. Yeah, least favorite's got to be the skit, specifically the classical teacher one, which
Yeah.
just so uncomfortable. No, it wasn't. I don't even think that was funny in 20. You can't blame that on the whole times changing. I doubt that was even funny in 2012.
No.
Not really.
I also think the explicit version is better than the clean version.
That's fair enough.
Like sometimes you just gotta say fuck and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Although they chucked our basses
channel
is
your
very
in-
good.
your inner- Yeah, that one's a pretty fun one.
Chucked our basses, I will give props to.
But sometimes you just gotta channel your inner Sam Mello and say fuck.
Yeah. The best fucks in the world. And your favorites and least favorites?
I'm kind of biased. I've listened to this album a lot over the years, but I don't really have a least favorite. But favorite is I really like Bout of Hollywood Jack and the Rage Cage. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I know that you also had some opinions on Tkay tricks, so maybe we should head there next.
Yeah.
Do you want to get your opinions in first, or should I do an opening to TK?
Why don't you do an opinion and then I'll get into my opinions.
TK.
My opening.
Saying it wrong.
So TK Maidza is I believe Zimbabwe-born
Yes.
Australian rapper who I found out about in 2014. A lot of Australians found out about her in 2013, 2014 when she came out with the song. I think the first one that she got any radio airplay on was Brontosaurus,
Yep.
which is so long ago I can't remember when that was. I don't think it was off an EP. And then she ended up having a couple other songs after that. My personal favorite from her early work was Switch Lanes, which had Paces as a producer, who's quite a well-known producer for Australian hip-hop, but we can get into every single song that he's done in the scene in the past 20 years in another episode. Because that might be free albums worth.
All right.
And she kind of had like this huge period in Australia for a bit. Like Switch Lanes got her that kind of breakout, and then Money Over Bitches would come out, and that was a pretty popular song. Her debut album came out in 2016 and was actually quite popular here as well. Simulation getting a lot of airplay, and then she kind of went more silent, and while she was still putting out songs, they weren't getting so big until she's now gotten this second resurgence after heavy promotion from popular media outlets, including Needle Drop and Pitchfork. Specifically with the Last Year Was Weird Volume 2, which absolutely blew up, and songs like Shook I was hearing on fashion commercials. So good on her for getting a second resurgence there.
Yeah, and she also was
Yeah.
like on the Troye Sivan Blue Neighborhood album, or was it the Wild EP? One of the two.
I think, yeah, Blue Neighborhood, but that was back in 2015 during her original resurgence.
And then I was reading about how she didn't really end up liking her first album as much. TK, like
There's still some great songs on there. Carry On with Killer Mike, Follow Me. I guess Simulation is still the best song off that, but
I think it just wasn't the direction she really wanted to go in.
yeah, she's definitely gone in this more like bass trappy kind of way, and it's been one of the most interesting changes. And we've ended up having a lot of popular guests on here. Like Duckworth has a bit of build to him. Most famously out of all the ones on here is JPEG Mafia.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember who was also on.
Umi.
Young Baby Tate was on there. So getting some guests in here and some pretty big coverage as well. This has been kind of a big couple of years for TK, and she's kind of only getting bigger. Apparently, she's got another album coming out soon that's based on the style.
Oh wow.
This definitely does sound better than her debut album as well. So I'm excited to see where she goes from here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So just an artist I've been following for a while. She's finally finished off her EP trilogy. Pretty much that it. Tricks, you can now criticize it.
This is incredibly generic and it all ran together for me.
The first
Dominic,
the first EP, yeah, sure. I can see
First
that.
EP, well, first EP, I'll 100% agree with.
2 picks up,
s-
3 delivers.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you're gonna even say to me that number two is just insane.
Like My Flowers
I'm
starts
gonna
it.
be honest. I've listened to these albums a few times, and you gave me a song title. I don't think I'd be able to tell you what it's off of.
The song that really goes, "These are my flowers, these are my flowers." Guess what the title of that one is?
The Flowers.
Yeah,
But like songs like You Sad are so fun.
I know. Don't call again.
Don't Call Again
I
is
like-
great. Oh man, like
This
that,
just isn't in my wheelhouse, is what I think it comes down to. And you could show me like 13 of these albums and that are all different, and I'd be like, they're all kind of similar to me.
All right, Dominic, you want to just praise TK and just ignore Tricks for the next 20 minutes?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
this is just a continually just getting better as you go. Like every
Yeah.
EP is better than the last. Like this is her
Yeah,
plan. I'm glad it was her plan.
I don't know if I like Volume 3 more than Volume 2, but like I definitely enjoyed them so much more than Volume 1. I think Volume 1 I enjoyed less than her album. I
Okay.
think it tries to be something, but like it still doesn't really know where to go.
But,
And
like,
it kind of blends it
Yeah,
together.
Volume 2 gets really chill, and that's where it stays for me. It's just really chill synth pop beats, and her rapping is like just kind of goes with it. It's very like mellow, relaxing.
Well, it starts off very chilling, but then like Shook and Awake completely
Yeah.
turn that around.
And then, but yes, like
And
If
it gets
it's JPEG,
back,
it-
it gets back to chill.
if it's JPEG, it's gonna get like that, and I appreciate the difference in like how it goes up and down like that.
Mm.
But,
There was
like,
actually another song that she put out during this time that didn't make any of the EPs. It's IDC if you be DED, or I don't care if you be dead.
yeah,
And that one just never got put onto one of these EPs, and it was released between Shook and Awake.
maybe the next one.
I don't know. I thought it ended up getting more Triple J play than Awake did in IDC, so that was a bit of a surprise. But like, yeah, songs like Shook just absolutely hit.
Yeah,
I know Trix is going to completely disagree, but like, I know it's such a cool different balance going from 24K, which has to be probably the chillest song on this EP, into Shook.
like so many of my
But I-
notes. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it, but like, it just works so well. It somehow just flows so well.
Yes,
This is a good EP.
like
It's a
so
damn
many,
good EP.
so many of my
It's
notes
one of
are
my
just
favorites
like
of last year, actually.
so many of my notes are just like, man, this guitar is really fucking cool. Like, like it just starts. And just like, oh, I know I'm gonna enjoy this. This is gonna be a fun time.
For those who can't remember as well, I did put both You Sad and I believe Don't Call Again in my 100 last year. With You Sad, I think I put in like 75 or something.
Interesting.
So these were songs that I enjoyed last year. And if I could do it again, I'd probably put 24K and Shook in there as well.
I just
24K is so chill.
yeah. I just like that Don't Call Again is basically like an R&B song. Like she's just exploring those genres like more
know.
and more as we go.
See, I have to just completely disagree with Tricks on here. I don't think anything sounds like, maybe Shook and Awake could be the only thing I could say is safely a blender in here. But even that, JPEG's like vocals on that as well really help differentiate that. It's such a varied EP.
Yeah. No, like I was waiting to see how long it took for me to compare her to other artists. And I got to volume 3 before I was like, there is some Janelle Monáe in here. The album art reminds me of Lil Nas X. So I wasn't really thinking about other stuff as much. I was just focusing on just like how beats just fuck.
I guess we should, like, because I know we're gonna mostly ignore her. We'll quickly just talk about like why Volume 1 isn't so good. And I think this one completely agree with Tricks that it is a blender on this one.
Like Big
I know
Things is
nothing- it's
fine.
Yeah, it's Big Things and Flexing are fine, but then it just doesn't do anything from there.
Yeah. And then
Even then, I'd say Big Things is better than Flexing.
like Big Things is a good start. It's very light, breezy. It sets the tone, right? Or it should. There's some horns, I always like me some horns.
It has this
Then-
kind of like reggae style that it's trying
Yeah,
to do. with
it's
it.
tropical.
Mm.
And then Flexen's a little bit more heavier. You got Duckworth on there. You got percussion, bass beats. Her flow's pretty good, And then the rest of it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, this is more synth, more space, lullaby. All right, cool.
Plus the album art differences between this, like you can tell that she hit like this kind of creative output that she wanted around Volume 2, because she continues that vibe going into Volume 3, and the wait time was completely different as well. Like, I'm pretty sure we waited less than a year for Volume 3 compared to like the 2 years that we waited for Volume 2.
Yeah, I was interested in that, considering the whole thing is how last year was weird. If you're gonna make a recap like that kind of sounding thing, feel like, is she making the second about 2019, about part of 2020? It's hard to really know.
Now we can finally kind of go into Volume 3, and God, there's some just bangers on this as well.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like,
Fucking hell. So it's one of those ones where, like, the chorus, it could so easily just be an annoying song, but just the way that they hit those choruses and they go, it's just so fun.
yeah, Eden just fucking blissed out. Just like, she's going strings, she's going oboe, she's really like amping up everything.
I'm gonna try and have Kashmir as well on my playlist quite a bit this year.
It just tracks. Like, the whole thing just gets bigger and bigger, and she just gets better and better and more confident. It's the confidence, I think, that's really important. It's like, Volume 1, she knows what she's doing, but it's not like she's not really pushing it, you know. And I feel like by the time we get to Volume 3, she's pushing her ideas. She's going with what she thinks is cool. Like, she has a whole song about Kim, and we're talking Kim Possible, Kim Kardashian, Lil Kim. A lot of it's Kim Possible. Like, that's just cool. Like, and then I was listening to like High Beams, and I'm like, why doesn't High Beams have more listens? It's like the EP is new still, but like High Beams was definitely a highlight for me. You got the gospel choir, you got like, I think, samples. Like, that's where it gets.
Maybe
I couldn't tell if that was like a sample in there or what, but that's where it seemed like it was going beyond what I would even expect from like an experimental EP, like hip hop synth pop kind of EP.
Well, it seems like rankings this week. It's just, especially for me. That's not even muted myself. Especially for me, it's just gonna be figuring out which one of these volumes I like the most. Because fuck, man.
I don't know if I could rank all the individual things this week. I might just rank the people.
I got a bit of a weird ranking. I'll say that much.
If I rank the people, it's pretty clear. If I have to go into like all 9 things we listen to, plus I do not know. I'll have to think about that.
I'm gonna start writing it down.
I'll have to do it eventually for the end of the year stuff. Like, once we talk it through, maybe I'll have a better idea. Because like, Tkay is not my problem right now.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, fantastic series. I think it's kind of good just like listening to all of this and just seeing the amount of progression that she has for each EP, and yeah, becoming more confident, becoming more experimental.
Yeah.
And yeah,
like,
fantastic.
Like, by the end of EP 2, I was like, oh, I should probably buy this. By Don't Call Again, where I got really impressed by that. And then I got to Syrup in EP 3. I'm like, oh, I should just buy this too. Like, that realization just came faster. Like,
yeah,
it's good. Like, she's really cool.
Favorites?
It's just not for me, and I'll say that much more. I'm like, there's stuff on it I can appreciate. Like, I was digging some of the bass work on it, but it's just not for me.
I think favorites are Eastad, Don't Call Again, Shook, 24K. I like Grasshopper as well. That's a great song. Awake is good. Yeah, I like High Beams. I like Kim. I like Kashmir. Syrup is also a good track. Least favorite, probably something on Volume 1.
I'll give it EP by EP. But Big Things, favorite Volume 1. Least favorite, probably Growing Up intro. Why is it there? EP 2, favorites probably gotta be You Sad or BBPB Jam. Least favorite, probably. Oh no, Don't Call Again's also really. Oh fuck. Least favorite, I don't know. Maybe Grasshopper? No, I can't remember. I don't have least favorite for this one. On EP 3 though, High Beams, definitely favorite. Least favorite's Breathe. All right.
Shall we go on to your Lukas Skucas?
God, those names. Yes, the name itself, I just think is cool. Lukas Skucas. Where to begin? So I was a frequent goer of garage shows in my high school days. Cardinal Heart comes from that. You know, like even Kalimasi comes from that a little bit. But like, I think for me, like, I never really hit that on this podcast in the right way. like how much I loved going to those shows and how much those things meant to me. And I think this episode finally nails what I'm trying to get at here.
This was a lot more interesting than Cardinal Heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like the thing with this is I separated this into eras of like, okay, Lukas started out with Skeletubbies, and that was like the high school band that I first heard of him from.
Yeah.
And then, Vinegar Kids later in college, and now he's just kind of like, I don't even know, just doing it on the side as like a solo project, just doing like demos where he's just recording a song and putting it on SoundCloud.
So I'm just gonna say this like straight up. Dogs and Parade, not really too interesting. Same with Skeletubbies.
Yeah.
Both of them, they seem like they're having a lot of fun and stuff. I think even Vinegar Kids, not too interesting, but at least there it a bit starts to shine, especially with the better production on it. So, yeah, this isn't the most interesting thing, but I can actually understand a lot of the love, like knowing local bands, enjoying them out of this. This doesn't seem like this seems like something that's not really worth critiquing because it's not really that high gloss of a project.
No,
It just seems like a fun time. That's pretty much it.
like the thing I think I remember when I first like brought this up to you two like over a year ago, and I was listening to Boys Soul then, the Skeletubbies EP, and I was disappointed, and I still kind of am in a way, but I couldn't quite articulate why. And over the course of researching this week, I found the Skeletubbies' old YouTube channel, which I had searched for repeatedly and did not find. So lo and behold, of course, I find it at the last minute. And there's a few live shows on there, and those live shows like really brought back those memories of like why I like this so much and why I wanted to bring this up. Like, I think Lukas is a really good band leader. I think he has a natural talent for the stage. Like as a frontman, he's very good. Listening to him doing sets, like his voice is very like it rings out. It's very like loud and like but like also very emotionally vulnerable, and you really need that space to hear that whole shape of his voice, right? Where you need to hear the different ways he pronounces words and the ways he like communicates what he's feeling and what he's saying with his body language, with everything. And I think the disappointment that I have with Boy's Soul and with some of the other stuff is that it doesn't really communicate that. It like flattens the voice, and so it becomes just a part of the song. To me, like to compare, like for like say let's say in the Aeroplane Over the Sea, right? Part of what makes Aeroplane so special is how Jeff Mangum uses his voice. Like his voice is allowed to like expand and do different things and ring out and like really shine as a part of the record. And I feel like on a lot of the stuff, Lukas is still there and he's still belting and giving what he can, but the production is not allowing him to do what makes him so special, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like I linked the concert, and I don't know if you listened to it or not.
I watched a little bit.
Like
I can understand what you're saying.
I can
What?
understand about seeing the concert.
like his cover of Sink Florida Sink is really, really good. Like he affects that Laura Jane Gray's voice a little bit, but he still brings a lot of it to his own. Like the songs are better live. Like 1,000 Little Cucumbers is like much more fun just hearing it live because they're more into it. They're like playing it in a more fun, jovial way. Where it's like Boy's Soul, it's like the songs, but you're not enjoying it. Like they're just doing it. They're fun kind of sometimes, but you notice the lyrics are a bit crappy sometimes. You notice that they're pretty simple, that the riffs are kind of rip-offs of like Black Parade or something. But yeah, like the reason I linked that January show specifically was just the way they run through a lot of the unique songs, the way they run through their covers, the production value, the production quality of the videos themselves is decent enough to like actually listen. Plus, like, he's got, like, the Lukas is, like, the frontman thing of, like, he pulls out the kazoo, he pulls out tambourines, he pulls out, like, shakers. He is, like, leading this crowd. He's, like, making them laugh. He's, conducting them as a frontman should.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, especially in, like, that scene, you don't really get that very often. And to hear him describe songs, like, it's maybe a tighter comparison to make, but I was reminded of Jeff Mangum and just how, like, he talks about them kind of nonchalantly, kind of just like, oh, I want to record this in the session, but Skeletubbies are dead. I just might have to do it by myself. I really want to record the EP, but, what can I do? And I just really enjoy that just open honesty a lot. And what's disappointing to me then is the stuff on the SoundCloud page, which for most of the week was all I thought there was. The stuff they have on there is not representative of that sometimes. Like the 500 Miles cover. It's like a fucking joke compared to this concert.
500 Miles cover was just like annoying after a bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just them fucking around and having a good time for themselves.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. Which is why, like, I don't really want to criticize any of this. Like, there was some very high school lyrics on this whole thing. I think I posted one of them. I couldn't even remember it because it's not like the most memorable thing.
Yeah, Interficio.
Like, I wouldn't give this out to anybody and say, "Oh, you gotta listen to this. This is incredible." It's just like, hey, if you're into your local bands or something like this, it'd be like, hey, yeah, this is fun. That's about it. There's not really many more comments to put out on this. I feel like I'm not trying to criticize you or anything for choosing it. I think it's fine to choose something that well, actually, I think it's a fantastic idea to pick something that you have that kind of emotional nostalgia to. It's just like hard for me to really talk about it myself when like I've got nothing really similar in mind. I mean, I never really had local bands in my high school. Well, actually, more I never got invited to parties, but that's a different story for a different day.
I mean, that's fair.
I will say, I think the Vinegar Kids is the best stuff he put out.
Yep, I agree as well. Specifically, the debut EP. I thought that one was just like better.
Bummer or the Vinegar Kids?
Bummer, I think.
Yeah, the one with the 5 songs.
Yeah, you linked it about a year ago on my birthday actually. I remember, and there was at that time I was like, this is all right, I guess, but it's grown on me and I quite enjoy it.
Yeah, I think the party.
I might give it some more listens at some point.
The party's pretty good. So you're just getting your MBA. I also quite like, and I've grown up. Why can't you?
I will say for the first thing of Dogs on Parade you put, I just wrote "It's been a shitty song."
It's been a shitty week. That was the first. Yeah, that was like his first high school attempt at like a solo thing. And then you get the NBA demo in the second era during Vinegar Kids stuff, and then I really like what he's been doing. Well, I like what he's been doing, like showing off what he's been doing since then, of like expanding his songwriting craft and kind of creating more story focused, just kind of acoustic experiences.
Yeah,
like stuff like Boys Night. I really like leave like they're more just sad boy songs, whatever. And like I wish there was more to it. I feel like artistically there's a ramp up here that I like, but I also there's for me there's like a kind of a sadness to this, a little bit of a disappointment, I guess, that he's not getting more chances to expand from Vinegar Kids into something more, Like I feel like he's going the Jeff Mangum Jittery Joe's route without quite ever reaching Neutral Milk Hotel. Like it's like if he just went from like doing a mixtape to that, and it's like, well, I don't know who you are, but you seem pretty good, I guess. I don't know. I could just keep talking about it, but I was hoping you two would have more to say.
It's hard. We just don't really. I don't.
I will say, to spoil my rankings a little bit, I think I enjoyed Vinegar Kids a little bit more than Tkay.
Interesting. Talk about that.
No.
I mean, I just kind of did. It's more my style, I guess. I can appreciate I can appreciate the Tkay. I definitely can, but like I can appreciate the Vinegar Kids a bit more.
Plus, I'm pretty sure we've already established Trix's love for lo-fi garage or lo-fi surf.
Yes, that's
I'm pretty sure that's been established for like the past 2 years now.
That's another reason why I thought there'd be more to talk about.
Literally, the first album she picked was lo-fi surf.
I think
I have it on the shelf next to me.
I think
I have it somewhere.
The Ramones cover is a bit of a weird thing to include, I feel like. Why California Sun of all songs when it's such like a aggressive macho song? That is not what they've been at all. I do just want to know the reasoning behind that, where it's like, I don't think that was a Lukas decision personally, but who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know, like, they've done so many better covers, like, in general. Like, again, Sink Floor to Sink, he belts that out. He does that so well. I would rather have that be, like, memorialized with a proper recording than a shitty Ramones song. And then I also just appreciate them putting out, like, a whole demos EP, just because you can't hear the lyrics for shit, but you can at least hear how the band plays and how that all works. the beats per
Yeah.
minute. I guess if you're a drummer, it could matter. And then
I did write down the word the line "hold on to your fucking butts." I thought that was kind of funny.
I also appreciate being able to see like how the NBA song goes from being like a quick acoustic demo to like a band demo to like a fully recorded track. I think that songwriting process is interesting and how the mixing process goes.
Yeah.
I also appreciate how in the current couple years he's been experimenting like with that cover I Wish My Kids Were Here and kind of making the whole recording sound different. Like the Polar Window demo track, how echoey and shoegazy it gets, I really enjoy. Like if that's where he's headed now, because that was released in March, that's his most recent track. If that's where he's headed now, I am curious to know what else he's doing. Like if I were a music producer, I would give him money. Like I want to see what else he can do.
I get you.
And like, you know, Skeletubbies broke up. Then one of the guys, Kellerman Lee, went out did another project, Buddy You Died, and they had a single. It's like you just had a single. July is like an okay emo song, I guess. Like where there's so much potential here that I feel like is being wasted. Where it's like Cardinal Heart, you know, that whatever, who cares? Lukas was even in Cardinal Heart, and even he couldn't save that from just not doing anything.
I will say as well, there was one criticism that I was having about some of the lyrics on here just being really, really shit. And that was like when I've forgotten what song it was. I think you mentioned it. Whereas when I get an A on my maths test, I'm ecstatic, and when I get somebody to love,
Interficio, yeah, that's the worst lyrics.
I wrote down the line when
good
I
shit,
heard
fucking
that.
top tier lyrics, fucking good shit. Yeah, because that was something I was
Ska.
mentioning.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Trex?
I was gonna say when I heard that line, I wrote down the line. "Sky is what a 14-year-old hears in his head when they get extra mozzarella sticks."
Yes, I mean I know Lukas didn't write all these songs. Like 1,000 Little Cucumbers was a Kellerman Lee song. The other song that they recorded, kind of, I ripped the YouTube audio, put it in the Discord if you wanted to listen to it. As the Summer Fades to Black, it has that trumpet you were looking for, Ritalin.
Yeah, because that was my big criticism of that Skeletubbies. I think it was Skeletubbies, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, was that it really wanted to be something, but they were just too scared to do it because, especially when ska probably wasn't seen as so good around that time, and now it's finally got a resurgence, and people are realizing that ska is actually a legitimate genre, like most music is, except country. Country can fuck off and die.
I like country.
I enjoy his.
That shit better fuck off and die.
I enjoy his tags on SoundCloud are fun because he tags half of these songs as country for the Dogs on Parade stuff, and I'm like, this is just acoustic singer-songwriter stuff. This is not really super country.
But yeah, it was like 1,000 Little Cucumbers, which really so badly wanted to be a ska song, but they were too afraid to go into it. Maybe they didn't have the instrumentation to do it. I know it's just high school kids.
Yeah.
It could be they simply just didn't have the production to do it. In which case, I would actually like to see a song like that, like rewritten by them.
Yeah, that was
into
their
a
first
ska
song.
Yeah, they could have done a lot more. I know there's the excuse for like high school kids, but there have been some genuinely, especially in the past decade, some genuinely well-written tracks by high schoolers, especially in Australia. Like Hockey Dad was high schoolers.
Like
Yeah.
The EP was fantastic when they were just high schoolers. I mean, there are other ones as well that have like Greta Ray here had a very popular song. Like she got 27 in the Hottest 100 when she was 17
that's pretty good.
from high school.
Yeah.
I mean, Billie Eilish topped it when she wasn't even 18 yet.
Like I'm reminded.
Yeah, you go first.
Like I'm reminded of other bands we covered that were in this age range, like Beach Goons or the Chats, right?
Mm.
And my thing with those is that I always say that like for like a punk band of any sort, you need a unique vocalist to really sell the image, sell the music.
Mm.
And Beach Goons, the Chats, they get along fine with their vocalists. They do the job they need to do. But I think like Lukas has vocals that are interesting and different, even when they're flattened out in the EPs, that at least stand out to me in a way that sometimes those other ones don't. So I wish that talent, what I consider that talent, was married to something that was a little bit better suited to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of the lyrics,
I can respect that.
yeah, some of the, you can blame the songwriting on him. You can blame it on the others. I feel like considering how fluid Skeletubbies and all that seemed to be, and how long those projects lasted, like it was not super serious for everybody. They'll do a few shows, they'll record a few tracks, and then go on their way. Like Skeletubbies was a 4-piece. I thought they were a trio, but I was only able to find 3 of the 4 names. I don't know who the 4th person is. I just don't.
It was you, Domino.
Oh, I wish. That'd be so cool. But yeah, I am glad for myself at least that I did this. I guess I wish there was more to talk about, but I don't know. I had a really good time researching this stuff. Just finding
it's fair enough. Fair enough.
finding all this
I
stuff.
get you.
I'm glad I found that YouTube channel. It really made it worth it for me. Like discovering why this matters to me and what makes it special to me. Because like live, I wish everyone could hear that stuff live and understand a little bit more about. Maybe it's not perfect now, but in the future, there's always that possibility that it could be better, and that pushes it forward. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Anyone have any favorites or least favorites or anything they want to talk about with anything he's done?
Look, I think there were a couple of moments that I was surprised. Like I was surprised by the modern baseball cover. I thought that was like a little bit of fun. It seems that they are just a bunch of people, and especially Lukas Skucas, just having fun with music. That's really all I can say. There's not really that much to talk about. I like that. I like that this can just be you talking about the gigs in high school and like going into like the underground scene around your area. I think that's a very important way for how music actually survives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like this isn't an important thing to talk about. It's just hard for us to talk about it when
That's
we're not
fair.
in the same vein as you. Especially when I haven't been able to go to like this level of underground. I think the most underground thing I ever went to was when Tiny Little Houses did a signing at a record store, and I think there was like 40 people there.
Like I remember. Sorry.
Actually, I was just say I think it was a bit more, but that's it.
Like I remember like going up to Lukas after a set he did because it was part of a larger show, of course. I remember just being like, "You're really good," and like he was like, "Oh yeah, thanks," laughing. But like I just remember just being so impressed that you could have this, and it wasn't just shitty covers. It wasn't just like, again, I do not think those 500 Miles covers and really sell how serious he could take it sometimes. Like the other concerts have a lot more fun, yes, but also like again, they're showing him as a showman, showing him able to take it seriously, but also still make the audience laugh and everything. If you get time to watch that concert, I would, suggest it. Obviously, it's up to you, but yeah, I just after Cardinal Heart, I think for me this is redemption. This is yeah.
I enjoyed it more than Tenacious D.
Hell yeah.
But that's more just because I didn't really have too much of an opinion on this and I hate it.
I will take it.
Winning by default. Yeah. I mean, that's what Australians do, so.
I will pick favorites and least favorites from each era because I will do that.
And we need to pad up for time.
I don't care about time right now. I'm reveling in this.
Fair enough. Go ahead. Take your time.
I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Boys Soul EP. Obviously, it's a high school EP that they're not super talented yet. There's potential there. Interficio definitely is the worst song just for the lyrics alone and just how silly it is. Where I think when you get to like Money Soup, it gets a little more interesting. I do like 1,000 Little Cucumbers despite it not being totally ska. Like they're fun songs. And that to me is what matters in this, at least, is that like Dancing Eyes is also pretty fun. I do like that Yeah song, like since Lukas is Lithuanian, he brings some Lithuanian to it, tries to make it a little more interesting. Like that's not something you'd usually hear for sure. 500 Miles covers can fuck right off. Also, I really do like As the Summer Fades to Black, which is the other song that they did, kind of. That does show a bit more evolution of his songwriting abilities. That definitely leads into some of the more modern stuff. Vinegar Kids, the Vinegar Kids EP itself is kind of whatever. Like CCC is the best track, and it's kind of sees a little bit more kind of punk screamo-ish kind of thing. But the California Sun's easily the worst on that. Bummer EP, I've listened to the Bummer EP a lot. The Party, great track. I think it's fun. It's short, interesting. Again, Lukas has a very sometimes small subject matter set, and that he talks about people drinking, doing drugs, passing out, friends of his doing this, people getting fucked up, and then
Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared.
or also him just drinking and smoking with friends and being sad. That is his over sometimes, and sometimes it works well. It works well enough that the party is interesting. So you're just getting your MBA then. Again, there was text being sent, and my wheels were not true, and I'm sad. I've grown up. Why can't you show people how we had fun? I'm sad about that. And then, like, look at this photograph. Every time I do it, it makes me laugh. It's not a favorite of mine, because it's just Why Won't You Love Me Anymore? And they did that subject matter better when they covered when Skeletubbies covered Foxing. The cover of Roxy is better than that.
I jokingly wrote down, this is the best Nickelback sequel I've heard.
They also had to change the title of it because it was, I guess, close enough to be a lawsuit. And I Know is kind of weak too. I think the Bomber demos are fun. I think I Know, or It Won't Grow as it's called instead of I Know, is the one track that benefits from having a demo, and that sounds more interesting. Other than that, the Dogs on Parade stuff, I don't know. Like, I do like the emotional honesty of posting that stuff, and that a lot of it he fucks up, and he just leaves all the fuck ups in there, and I do like that. But I do think something like Boys Night, which is kind of like a story song that really develops his like songwriting ability to the point where I'm like, is he writing all of this, or are these covers, or what the fuck's going on here? And like, as far as I can tell, there's only one cover from that set, the I Wish My Kids Were Here thing. Like, Thank God Tomorrow's a Sunday I also really like. Polar Winter demo I think is interesting. But if I had to pick a least favorite from all that, probably Let Me Know When You Get Home. No, that I like that one too. Or like maybe a Pilsen Stoop in early 2018, because that's just an ambient track that he recorded. It's cool, but it's just city sounds. It's just Chicago.
And thus, Lukas Skucas was covered. I mean, as much as we haven't had much to say, I do really appreciate you covering something like this. I think, this is like still something very important for us to cover, because a lot of people forget that music isn't always just industry plants. Sometimes there are just high schoolers or even people older than that just trying to make their way through local gigs. I mean, you check out the early shit Phil Elverum's done and his early live gigs, and they're all just in random houses.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, is like, you have the Phil Elverums, you have the Jeff Mangums who in projects that made it, and this is somebody who wasn't.
Well, it's the insane part as well, because like with Phil Elverum and stuff, you will see him playing songs in the Glow Part 2 in random houses. It wasn't just like very early. It was going into the periods where he was at his most successful. That's like the weird part about it.
I mean, how did the Glow Part 2 even get out there?
More intimate.
Was the
It was a bit of a cult following after it, like, as it was released.
But I'm curious, like, how people found it. I can't remember the label that put it out, but was it like a major enough label?
I'm pretty sure he's released most of his stuff independently as well.
Yeah, and I guess if that's the case, then it's just like, I wish that would happen to Lukas. I really do. I wish that he put out something that really caught on for everybody else in the way that some of it really catches on for me.
Another thing that this thing did remind me of, there's this band called Good Sniff. They're pretty much SoundCloud, and they had this song that got a bit of popularity after it played on Triple J during Festival, which is a song that they wrote for their their bass player, who ended up unfortunately killing themselves.
Oh.
I think it was killing themselves or something they're gone, and it was a song called Louie the Milkman, and it was very lo-fi surfy and everything, but it really just reminded me of that kind of stuff. It was like, that only got known because of the Triple J, because their local mates were just requesting it like crazy with that backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff. It's just like, a lot of what is underground, some people just don't have access to. Like, not everyone has production software or anything like that. Some people are just literally going with a microphone that they found off the side of the road and a guitar.
Yeah.
And sometimes it works, and I feel like in here it doesn't really, like, they could definitely use better production, but you can tell they're just doing the best of what they've got, and it's fun.
Yeah,
they're having fun. That's what matters.
There's one more thing I wanted to say. I remember looking on Spotify, because the Vinegar Kids stuff is the only stuff that's really streaming anywhere that you can like buy, the EPs.
Yeah.
And the only song that had any kind of traction, as far as I can remember, was the Photograph song, which.
Because people keep thinking it's a fucking.
But they changed the title.
Yeah.
But like it was included on playlists, I think. Maybe because it was that
Picture
song.
Your Own. I love it. It's called Picture Your Own Older Real Title. That's pretty funny.
But that was only got like a few thousand streams or something like that, and like I just
1.7.
yeah.
Okay.
I wish it was more. I wish that whole the EP got a little bit more attention, like maybe at least like a Mouse 2 level or something. But yeah.
Again, Maidza is another artist I wouldn't have discovered if they didn't promote it just on our local Discord.
Lucas, if you're out there, please keep going.
And yes, Dominic is single.
I think he has a girlfriend. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter when you're with Dominic. We're baiting the podcast. No, we all have fun games. Anyway, shall we do the daunting task of ranking everything?
All right, I'll try both ways. But you two go first.
Yeah. So I'll just piss off Tricks first. This is my first attack at Tricks that I do here. Tenacious D last, dead last. Just did not.
I'm gonna
like it at
redeem
all.
myself next week. I'm gonna redeem
I'm
myself next week.
I've changed my pick just to spite this album.
It's not Squid.
Not Squid now.
Fuck.
This is
Oh boy.
all on Tricks. All on Tricks now.
You're really
number two,
mogwaiing us.
Yeah. Let's not forget Tropical Fuckstorm, huh?
In Man or
Number
Astroman.
Number two, Vinegar Kids. Man or Astroman? Who the hell's Man or Is that Trix's choice?
It was, and then we didn't do it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing it eventually. Closer to
Yeah, so
Halloween.
number two is Vinegar Kids and the kind of all the Lukas Skucas stuff in there. And then number one is all the Tkay Maidza. I think I still prefer Volume 1 over all the Vinegar Kids stuff. But like, yeah, Volume 2 and 3 are just fantastic.
I hope that all the audio I gave you for that it's not going to waste. We'll do something with it here and there.
For the Vinegar Kids stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't really have the right to sample it.
Not that, but like listen to it or something.
Yeah, maybe. I have
Yeah.
people who are into anything they'll listen to, so
There you go.
I give it to the best judge of music I know. I'll give it to my dad.
I'm sure he'll trash it. Tricks?
I'll tell him they're a popular artist, then he will.
Let's see. Starting at the lowest. I'm gonna do all of Lukas Skucas' stuff except for Vinegar Kids. Then I'm gonna go with Tkay, then Vinegar Kids, then Tenacious D.
Okay. So if I were to rank the people, just my impressions of the band and the people as a whole, third would be Tenacious D, second would be Tkay, first would be Lukas. But to really go through this, if I'm being really honest with myself, the bottom of the list for me is Volume 1 and Boy's Soul. After that, probably maybe the modern stuff, which isn't really collected in an album, and Rize of the Fenix is somewhere there. Then maybe Vinegar Kids is either before or after Rize of the Fenix, and Volume 2 and 3 are at the top. Like, in terms of actual production quality that I really, really like.
Fair enough. I'm gonna choose my my pick last. You two can go with what we're doing next week. You have 3 guesses to take over my pick if you want to steal it. Or 2 guesses, I guess, in total.
I mean, I picked Skeletal Lamping of Montreal. I keep meaning to do it, so we're doing it.
I'm gonna be doing.
Was it?
I did. What did Riddle say?
I
Yeah.
just said a classic for Skeleton Lamping.
I'm gonna be doing an album or an artist I've been meaning to do for like almost a year now, and he actually ties in well enough with my doom metal project too, because he's a part of a doom metal band that has 3 great albums. I'm gonna be doing the album Slaughterhouse by Tkay Segal Band.
You might think this is enough to make up for it, but Tkay Segal is one that I have really struggled to get into, so we will see.
Oh.
It's a good
Yeah.
album.
I own an album from Tkay Segal. I own Sleeper because I found it at a Vinnie's for $1.
That's one of his weaker albums. It's all acoustic.
Yeah. I know, but that was one that was like based off his father's death or something, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, and his mother estranging him.
So
Yeah.
it was The Crow Looked at Me of Ty Segall.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been some other types of gold that I've tried to listen to, but anyway. So I kind of alluded to this when I was doing it, but I need after listening to Tenacious D, an album that one tries to call back to the previous genres and previous times, make jokes in it that actually hit, and damn well just be a masterpiece of an album regardless. And I'm going back to Ween. We're going back to Ween because Ween know how to do that. Ween are just creative gods at their peak. And we did the Mollusk. We did that, which was based on a lot of sea shanties. This one has kind of a weird basis to it because it doesn't stick to one genre, and it's quite a crazy album when you think about it with all it does. And it has joke. It goes from ranging on this whole story about this man killing his brother and using it to kill another person, which I described about. And then the very next song is just this 2 minute kind of dancey clown music, like circus music song that's called the HIV Song, where the only lyrics are AIDS and HIV, and yet it still bangs. That's the kind of weirdness that this album has. I'm of course talking about Ween's Chocolate and Cheese. You deserve this, Trix.
All right.
I figured you were gonna go for Tism again.
I knew he was gonna go Ween.
My second guess was Lonely Island.
Nah, I don't really like the Lonely Island.
Lonely Island do not hold up at all.
How dare you? Also,
It's not that it's not like Andy Samberg isn't funny or anything. It's just that like all of their stuff is a product of the times.
sure.
Yeah, there are some jokes that I still think about, like in the song "No Homo." There's a line that's just "Let's hit the hot tub and take a dump,"
Yeah.
and I'll quote that just occasionally at my friends.
All right. So next week we're doing Ty Segall Band, Slaughterhouse of Montreal, Skeletal Lamping, means Chocolate and Cheese. Now, the episode after this, we're doing a theme episode. I'm gonna let you two vote on which one we do. Are we doing our infamous Smith Steak episode, or are we doing the albums our parents like?
I want to do the albums our parents liked.
Yeah, that would actually work better than me because I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get a steak next weekend because I'm busy.
Yeah, me too.
Be 2 weekends, but sure. All right. So after Ween of Montreal, Ty Segall, doing albums our parents liked theme. So look out for that, everybody.
I've already got an album in mind for that actually.
So do I.
So do I.
Until then, though, I have been Ritalin, and after then, I probably still will be. But you never know. I could finally decide that my name was cringe after all, and change it to something like Domino. Until then, though, I have been Ritalin. You can catch me on my website, ritalin4kids.github.io. I am currently in the process of releasing a Steam game, so hopefully I'll actually remember to update my site. I'm also doing a game jam at the moment, so like I'm probably just going to screw everything up by doing that. I also have a YouTube channel, which I don't post on anymore, but I still advertise it, so I should probably post something on it. I also have a Bandcamp if you want to like buy my music if you're a masochist. I also have a Spotify. I also have a Steam, a Twitch in which I don't stream. It's twitch.tv/ElSommonGHGreat. It's ElSomonEONEGHGREAT. I also have a Reddit account that is u/ElSomenEGHGREAT. I also have a Roblox account that is Someone that's been there for a couple of years, all caps. I also have a couple old YouTube channels as well. I have a podcast, Dissonant Waves, if you want to listen to that. Let's see what else. I got a Gmail if you want that. It's lsomeonegh@gmail.com. Have a Hotmail, lsomeonegh36@hotmail.com. Don't ask what happened to the first 35. I also got another emails, but those are for private and for work. I do have a full-time job, but I can't really give the email out for that one. If you want it, I have a phone number. I probably shouldn't get that one out. Actually, that might cause some annoying calls. I have a Spotify that's under ElSomonGHGreat as well. If you want to follow what I'm listening to, as I was saying that, Discord posted up Spotify playback paused while transmitting audio. So that was pretty funny.
Where can you find Dissonant Waves?
Dissonantwaves@gmail.com. There's also a Squarespace website. That's dissonantwaves@squarespace.com, I think, or something stupid like that.
Dissonantwaves.space.
.space.com. Damn it, I'm bad at this. I'm also a moderator on Mini-Me's Discord, so you can come over to Mini-Me's Discord. The invite link is probably discord.gg/K768943Q. That's not actually correct, but I just had to put out some random stuff.
It's not up for me to put the invite link in the description, unfortunately. Oh, you can also follow Dissonant Waves. You follow Dissonant Waves on Twitter at Dissonant Waves.
Even if you stopped me, man. Why'd you let me go that far?
It was fun.
We wanted to see. Yeah, we wanted to see how far you'd go.
God damn it! I also have a Battle.net account. I'm pretty sure that's on the Riddle for Kids. Oh man, I got a Facebook account. I got a Last FM. That's again the Riddle for Kids. You know, most of these are under the Riddle for Kids banner. I have a Zero account. I don't even know if that's still running anymore.
Xbox.
What else? What else have I got? Yeah, I got an Xbox account that's under lsummonghgrade36@hotmail.com.au as well. I have a Minecraft account that's under lsummonghgrade.
Hey,
you're done.
You're done. You're done.
Got a Unity account.
I gotta step in here. You're done. All right. As the kids say. Rip Skeletubbies, rip Vinegar Kids, long live Larry and the Davids. My name is Dominic. You can find me on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I also written for Tilting Windmill Studios, but I'm not writing for there right now, so you won't find anything new. You just find the old stuff, which you can still read if you want to, I think. That website should still be up. Last I checked it was, but who knows? And this, if you're listening to this 50 years in the future, who knows?
I've been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut_. That's like procrastinating astronaut, and then an underscore. It's just dumb jokes about how you should be in a polyamorous relationship with Jesus.
That was my pencil falling to the ground, which signals that we are done with this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Long live Larry and the Davids.